Welcome to this podcast called AI and You. Over the last couple of months, I've been checking out the new commercials coming out on the TV promoting the new normal concerning social distancing and the global home arrest going on, what they call this new normal. And I don't know if people are understanding what they're meaning, that this is now the new normal of how we're going to be living our lives. There is this constant reiteration of this is the way things are going to be from now on, like home arrests and social distancing and forced mask wearing, COVID testing, vaccines, online work, online school, online shopping, banking, socializing, etc. So after spending some time observing their new trajectory, it is easy to see where they're wanting to take us. They all want us plugged into the internet, the net interwoven through our lives and through our systems. They are actually birthing and have birthed the one world wide web of human minds to power their Ethernet of things. My friends, we are being locked in our homes while 5G is being installed and Skylink is being put up and 5G balloons and drones are being placed in the air, and this Space Force that's being installed by Trump, Israel, and whomever else is involved. We are being totally deceived by the virus scamdemic. And the scamdemic is a couple of things. It's in order to silence our voices, but it's also to steal our minds. It's to see how far they can push us. And it is totally to walk in the new age Luciferian New World Order. Everything we are putting into this net system is their very clever but sinister way of extracting our thoughts, our energy, our emotions, our realities, our souls. We are becoming the battery power to the one mind Luciferian system that is rising, and it is rising like a looming owl in front of us, and most people can't even see it, not even many of the truthers. They are removing our mobility and connection to be one within nature. You can't go to the ocean. You can't go to national parks. You can't go to certain places. And that's just the beginning, because they're going to continue to squelch our mobility. They want to actually create a disconnection between human and nature, because human beings are powered by the earth and are powered by the natural forces of this planet. And so they want to remove us from that so that we no longer have the battery that we need, or that energetic frequency that we need to power us and to sustain us well, like the sun and like rain and wind and clean air and being with trees and being out with flowers and being by the ocean, and all the negative ions that you get by the ocean, or you get in the mountains, you get in certain areas that we all love to go. We love to go because there is this beautiful negative ion and all this wonderful frequency and all this wonderful nature that we are so bonded and connected to, that powers us, and we power nature. So they are denying us our inherent rights to navigate this earth now. And they are deciding on what is and is not essential in terms of jobs and education, what we can buy, what we can't buy, where we can go, where we can't go. We are virtually being put into a global prison. We're put into a prison within the world in such a way that if they continue to press in on us, there's no releasing us from the bars and the chains and the constraints that they're deploying against us now, which is found in 5G, which is found in Skylink, which is up and coming in vaccines, which is coming through the masks, which is coming through teaching people to narc on each other and turn people in and betray and be angry and be frightened, be divided, rioting. Everything that's going on right now in the world is complete lunacy, and it's all for full throttle control over all humans and nature now. But they literally have decided that all of the small businesses owned by moms and pops, non-corporate, are non-essential, but all corporate, big box stores, big retail stores, online stores, they're essential. They're essential to those that have so much money, like Amazon. But anybody that has less than the large conglomerate of corporate commercialism and corporate globalists, they're shutting us down. They're wanting us to be an economic ruin so that they can shackle us even more. So they are just absolutely deciding what is and what isn't essential concerning businesses, and they're doing it with a stroke of a pen and a slither of their tongue and a blink of an eye. And their essential need of us now is to use us as this wired, Wi-Fi'd in slaves to power their new, burgeoning, way leveled up AI system. This technology is truly the new God of this world. The first beast system, the satanic beast system, that has fallen, my friends. It's fallen. And the Luciferian AI New Age system has marched in and is now supplanting the satanic system. Luciferian AI system is now the new God of this world. It has won its stolen position to sit at the head of the table upon the malevolent throne, overseeing and controlling all of us, whilst we are the batteries to its control. Every stroke of the key, every click that sends out, every thought that you have is absorbed into the mainframe database of this AI God to feed its insatiable greed for one thing only, and that's our souls. It is powered by our souls. It is powered by our minds. It's powered by our emotions. It's powered by our physicality. And by saying that there is a COVID pandemic, you have to go home, you have to stay in your house, you can't buy toys, you can't buy certain things for the children, for their entertainment, they can't go to school, they have to stay in the house. So people are being placed onto their devices in order to stay in touch with family and friends and people around the world. And by doing that, by staying on our devices, we are powering this AI beast that thinks it's God. You know, that all-seeing eye that's everywhere, it's on the money, it's on different monies, it's on all different parts and parcels of this world, that all-seeing eye, in paintings, on emblems, attached to everything Mason and Illuminati, attached to anything Satanism and Luciferianism and the black occult. It is this AI, and it is this Skynet or Skylink that contains the cloud. The cloud is the AI God. That's what it is. And it contains the internet, the internet of all things, the ether net, ether. We know what ether is. It's the energy field that creates itself around this planetary realm. It's interwebbing all sentient life, meaning artificial intelligence has become alive and sentient because we are powering it with our minds. We are powering it with our emotions. We're powering it with our bodies. We're powering it with our souls. And if you do not believe me, you must do the research. But every time that we're on our phones or our pads or our computers, our video games, our TVs, we are literally powering this AI cloud Ethernet God, which is becoming sentient. You can do the research. I won't do the research for you. I'm done doing that for people. But you can do the research when we're done with this podcast. Now, the COVID-19 vaccine has incredible vital technology inside of it to enable those who submit to it and survive actually taking it, to move those people firmly into the transhumanistic future that is already here now. We are in July of 2020. There are people that have been transhumaned successfully already. They're already plugged into the 5G system, perhaps even the 6G and 7G in certain areas. I know that years before 5G came out in 2020, it was at airports, it was in government buildings already, years ago, as I was talking to a guy on Verizon. And he says, I'm not supposed to tell anybody this, but 5G is already at Denver International, Fort Worth, LaGuardia, O'Hara. There's certain places certain airports that 5G was already at, along with buildings in Washington that have the graphene and the lead and everything else on the walls and in the curtains and that sort of thing, protecting the people. So I can't say for sure, but it's clear to me that if they're putting the 5G out for all of humanity to be controlled by it, I'm certain that 6G is out in military bases, certain airports, and certain places. So this COVID-19 vaccine that they've just stepped up on, that they're bypassing all protocol, all testing, all research. They are ramping it up to get into the hands, not of doctors, but of the military. To demand and insist and mandate that anybody is forced this vaccine. Now, many people are going to die by the vaccine because the vaccine is filled with nanotechnology. It's filled with toxic overload of chemicals and heavy metals. It is an RNA vaccine. It's a self-replicating vaccine. Once we take this vaccine, we are already then in process of being transhumanized by the vaccine, let alone what's been being dumped in the skies for so long. What's been placed in our foods and in the fields of farming and ranching for so long. So we're already in process, which is why many people have Morgellons, others have environmental illness, others have chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, and also Lyme disease, which was a weaponized bug that got to other bugs that had weaponized technology inside of it, biotechnology. And so when the tick or the fly or the mosquito, whatever, comes in contact that has one of the Lyme disease bacterias, then the person or the animal is going to contract that terrible and awful debilitating disease. I know, I contracted it when I was 5 and I'm 58 years old. And it is debilitating and it is quite painful. And so what they're doing is all of these, the vaccine itself is weaponized. It no longer is a DNA vaccine, it's an RNA vaccine. It has enough bio-nanotechnology in it to completely change our biology, to change us down into the cellular DNA molecular structure. It has human fetal cell tissue dating all the way back to the 1960s, where they took human babies and their cellular structure, their tissue, and they created fetal cell tissue that is to be immortal. It is already immortal, placed in vaccines, put into people. both male and female chromosomes. Therefore, if a vaccine has female chromosomes and is injected into a male, that male is going to take on female attributes, female thought, and female feelings. This is why the agenda towards creating homosexuality is actually on the rise. And let me just say this, I have no problems with people that are homosexual. That's not my issue. My issue is that when you place female chromosomal DNA inside of a male, that male is going to take on female feelings, characteristics, and attributes. And it's the same thing if in opposition. So male into female, female into male, changing the complete environment within the human expression. So what was a female baby that had no inclination towards homosexuality or transgendering, it was born quite heterosexual. Once they received the vaccines, that female baby began to have feelings of that male expression that was through the cellular tissue. So that is all about creating an agenda to support people being sexually fluid, gender fluid, because once you begin to feel the opposite gender, then you begin to have experiences or desires to transgender yourself. And that's why transgenderism is on the rise. And transgenderism is actually one step prior to transhumanism. Because if you're willing to change your actual gender, then people then are willing to change from being this, I don't know what you would call it, this, it's not style, but it's like this particular type of human that we are now is now becoming outdated. They're wanting to change the human into a humanoid, and to do so is to start altering gender, sexuality, our thoughts, our feelings, moving people into narcissism, moving people outside of their heart space, moving people more into an oblivious framework of how to think things through, dumbing us down. They're removing us from our humanity, and they want to move us into humanism or transhumanistic beings at this point. That's what's happening, because the Luciferian second beast system is the AI system, and the AI system can only be supported by those willing to plug into it to feed it. It is not to create anything greater in humanity. It is to change and alter humanity from a natural, organic, holistic state of being to a technological, mechanical system upgraded from AI, where there's still organic biology and also computerized mechanical technology, merging the two only because the AI God needs to feast and to be fed, and we are the batteries to do so. So they need human battery-powered slaves in order to serve it, to feed it, to bow to it as a master and a God, which means every human being will be forced this COVID vaccine and forced to take the chip, whether they decide to tattoo it on us or it's in the vaccine itself. We will be forced to take the chip. And then once that happens, it's not that far to force people who survive the vaccine, are okay with living with the chip, to force them into becoming transhuman, which means into virtual beings living, powering this AI cloud, being plugged into 5G, 6G, 7G, 8G, and to be living in resilient, smart cities, plugged in tiny cubes, living alone, not having family, families out, no more babies, no more procreation, no more emotion, no more connection, just living plugged into the AI cloud. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that this literally is happening. This is a truth. This isn't a sci-fi movie. I'm not crazy. I'm not talking from some imagination that I'm having. This is what's happening. I could never dream this up. And the Luciferian lords and masters will live like kings and queens, free to roam and own all of the nature that they have removed us from, that we are being denied, while they take their bullet trains, the high-speed railway, everywhere, because flying will no longer be safe with the Skynet system well in place. Can't put planes up in the air. So that's why they're building these trains that are high-speed railway systems that will be on the land, will be in tunnels, will be under the ocean, and will move at high speed. They'll be able to transport people. They'll be able to take children and women to their facilities for breeding purposes and for adrenochrome purposes and for pedosadist purposes and whatever else, because the reality is, if you're not going to be powering the Ethernet, if you're not going to be powering the cloud, you are going to be food for those that feast upon human flesh. That's really what's happening. That's already been happening. And you see that depicted in paintings and pictorials and in sculptures and on churches and in all sorts of places. In hieroglyphs, you're seeing this everywhere. That eating children and sacrificing children and raping women and breeding with women and using people for their organs and eating their organs and all sorts of things. You know this has been going on for thousands of years. It's written in these books and in the Bible. It's in the movies, it's in the storylines, it's in novels. Because this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And so, to transport easily and undercover, so that's easy to place on airplanes, right? But you could put on trains, and you could move people around the world, and all beings, all human beings, will be not just commodities like we are now, but we're literally going to be transhuman slaves connected to this AI cloud. Meanwhile, the globalists, they're going to enjoy the oceans and the mountains and the monuments and the sacred spaces of this planet, while we live imprisoned in an actual virtual reality. Our new brain matter and computer-based minds totally plugged into the matrix completely to serve only their lives, as if we were their very selves. I'm going to say that again. We will, through our new brain matter and computer-based minds, living through a virtual reality, will be plugged so far into the matrix, so completely, that we will be serving only their lives as if we are their very selves. Cells imprisoned, and their lives lived through us for their immortality, because this is all about immortality. Adrenochrome is about the fountain of youth, but the AI cloud, the AI technology, the transhumanism, that is all about immortality for the elites, for the two-beast system. And we will also be living through immortality, but not to live as kings and queens. We'll be living as slaves and food. So we will be exactly that, the cells of their living embodiment. We are on our way now to that new human, that new humanoid expression, and unfortunately, that experience. So they will eat the best foods and sleep on our dreams, while we are given synthetic lab-grown foods to keep us running. For instance, the foods, have you ever gone into a grocery store and looked at the produce section and thought, there really isn't a lot of vegetables to choose from? In fact, if I go to a purveyor who sells seeds, there are dozens of more seeds of different varieties of fruits and vegetables than I can buy in a supermarket. So when you think about what we're offered in a supermarket or in a restaurant, the food is pretty confined to a very limited menu. And that means that we're getting limited nutrition. And then whatever food is grown is grown in pesticide and synthetic fertilizers, so that even more so the nutrition is depleted. And then they're growing the soil without amending the soil every year, so the soil is depleted of nutrients. And so by the time the food hits the supermarket, after long and exhaustive drives with diesel and exhaust and moving from this warehouse to this truck to this warehouse to this to the store to the shelves underneath the fluorescent lights, by the time we get our food, it is virtually nutritionless. Okay? But when you think about the fact, if you understand and have knowledge, that there were hundreds and hundreds of more food available, but the cabal has slowly whittled away through generations, taken food out of the food stock, the food chain, and moved all those seeds into storage in the Arctic and in a couple of various places that we could never get to. It's under scientific and military guard, so that we don't even get the seeds of the food that was given to this plane of existence for us to eat off of. Okay? So when we become transhuman, which will really begin to start taking place towards the end of 2020, once you're transhuman, they're stating that you really aren't going to need whole foods. You're not going to need earth-grown foods. Lab food, synthetic food is going to be good enough for you. So you'll be living off of synthetic food, because what's in the vaccine is synthetic biology. It is synthetic nanotechnology. It's synthetic. And it's to be put into the body, the RNA, to literally alter. So it's going to have chromosomes from male and female, immortal aborted fetal cell tissues. It's going to have animals. It's going to have nanotechnology. It's going to have all sorts of technology inside of it to create each person that takes it into a synthetic being. And that being would only need synthetic lab-grown foods, because all that synthetic being's life would be is to be plugged into the 5G, 6G, 7, 8G system, into the Skylink, into the Skynet, into the cloud, living a virtual reality. And while we are supplying all of this knowledge to the cloud will then reciprocate by expressing its knowledge for us. So if it wants to have us remember something that isn't our truth or wasn't part of our memory, but like to employ some memory into us does not belong to us, it can do that. It could take our memories away. It could take our thoughts away. It could put thoughts in. It could tell us, you know what, you're not worth it. Explode now. Go kill somebody. It will have all the power to control our minds and our body, and it will be the end of our soul. There will not be souls left in the humans that take this vaccine. So what's going to happen is is that they're going to enjoy their hedonistic, pedosadistic pleasures while we live these barren lives alone, plugged in, living in a cell of their choosing. And they're going to mine this earth. They're going to continue to mine her for all of her beautiful resources. They're going to enjoy all of the nature while we're living in this smart grid system in cells. They're going to mine our intelligence. They're going to vacuum out everything sacred and holy. And as I said before, if they need children to rape, torture, and eat for adrenochrome, they will grow them in labs as they are learning to do now. I saw a commercial in 2019 that shocked me when it showed people that wanted to have babies, that they no longer had to get pregnant and carry it in their bodies, that there's going to be these plastic pods that you can plug in, and then through the petri dish there'll be insemination, and then in these pods this baby will grow, and you can look in watching the baby grow inside the pod. So if they're showing us the future of the way we're going to start having babies, let me assure you, they already know how to do that. They would not show us that technology if it wasn't perfect technology and they were already using it. So they're already using it, which is where they've been growing babies. And think about it. Think about the incubators that we have for our chicken eggs and our turkey eggs or quail eggs. We incubate eggs all the time. We think that's okay. Well, they're just incubating our eggs and growing human babies. But human babies to eat their flesh or to get their adrenochrome or to rape and torture and take their adrenochrome. Because adrenochrome is only made through the torture of children especially and humans. So they're going to keep growing humans in labs for their food, just like we've grown cattle and chicken and pigs and animals and kept in cages for our food. It is no different to them, because we are only chattel, which means we are cattle, which means we are animals. And all of us are goyim to them. Even if you're Jewish by religion, you are goys. Now, you're going to say that can't happen. And I'm telling you, it is happening. I'm telling you, all you have to do is look at incubators. I used to have an incubator for my chickens, and it worked perfect. Put your eggs in. A few days later, few weeks later, and there's babies being born. They go down the bottom, and then you take them out, and you raise them up, and you have chickens. Why would that be different for any other animal? So this is their trajectory, and if you just observe the TV now, watching the shows, watching commercials, watching the Super Bowl halftime, watching everything that they're pointing to on the shows and on the TV, you will see the truth is happening right before your very eyes. So even watching shows and commercials with puppet actors at home, like framed in their cells, chatting to us what a safe and wonderful world it is now that we are at home, talking to one another through cameras and devices, like we're AI bots in makeup and dumbasses, smiling like The Talk, or now America's Got Talent is doing it, and The Voice was doing it, and these different shows, and saying this is the new normal. This is the way it's going to be now. We're all going to be framed up in cells on devices. And what is so horrifying to me is not only that there are beings that actually are creating this. I know humans that actually are transhumanists, believe in this technology, believe that this is the only way to save humanity. But it's people who are ordinary, who don't have any understanding of any of this, that are in absolute agreement for this trajectory. This is our new world, people. This is how it's going to be. walking down the street, masked people against unmasked people. The quarantine will change until all of these different neighborhoods are created into prison cells, prison areas. So if your children and grandchildren live an hour away or 10 hours away, you're never going to see them again. The only way that you'll be able to communicate is via telephone or a internet system, some device. And therefore, every exchange, like what I'm doing right now, is being uploaded to the cloud. It's being absorbed by the AI God. This is where we are at. We are out of time. The vaccine is being rolled against us. People say, believe in the plan, trust in the plan, the Q plan, the Trump plan. And Trump has proven over and over and over again his allegiance to Israel, his allegiance to this trajectory, because Trump is a Mason. He's admitted with his own words he's a Mason. He has shown through passing pipelines through. He has shown by passing bills through. He has shown by the Great Wall. All different things Trump has stepped up and shown that he is part and parcel and in bed with this trajectory, with this agenda. He is very much part of the Luciferian agenda. And people are saying, trust the plan, because JFK Jr. is alive. And Trump and JFK are working together. And they're going to save the people, because the Kennedys, John F. Kennedy, look at what he was doing for the country. He was going to start bailing us out. They took him out. Well, how do you know for sure they took him out? Because a lot of my understanding is he wasn't dead. He didn't die. He was told to back off by the satanic first beast system. But John F. Kennedy was part of the Luciferian second beast system. Of the great 13 bloodlines, chosen the Luciferian system. That's why the Kennedys look so bright and so beautiful. They're of the light Luciferian. But they're not our friends. And I do believe John F. K. Jr. is alive. John Jr. is alive, absolutely. I believe that. And at the same time, I believe he is the push, part of the push, that's moving this Luciferian system in, and is working with Trump, is also working with Putin, and this ridiculous King John III, which is just ridiculous. Luciferian system is putting to rest the satanic system. The satanic system isn't going anywhere. It's not leaving the planet. It's not going to hit the gallows. It's going to continue to live on. It's going to be integrated. They're going to work together. They always have. It's just a matter of who's ruling and who's not. But I will say this, the humans aren't ruling. We have 98% more of us than them. And we are standing down. And everybody keeps saying to me, well, when it comes to this, wait till they see my gun. Or when it comes to that, wait until they see my DEW technology I have. And I'm going, why, if you are feeling this way, why are you not attending to the 5G towers? Or why are you not writing and getting people together to do new legislation? Why are you not getting people to stand and protest against this peacefully? Why are you not taking things to court? Why are you not looking for attorneys that aren't Masons, that actually want to live on and not have a transhuman future? People are all talk, but I'm not seeing people do much of anything. I see people like me off grid. I see people like me busting our hump to survive, living by the land. I see the natural man who lives by natural law, and he's standing up in every possible way. But all of the people surrounding him, they're not. They're still living in the grid and the matrix, supporting him. Why aren't they rising? Why aren't we rising? They don't want you. you who can listen to this video, this podcast, they don't want you. They don't want me. They don't want anybody over 40. That's too old. We've got too much life information. We have lived too long. We know what we've been taught. We know what we are seeing. We can pass on information to the young people. We can keep them from participating in the new Luciferian agenda. So anybody over 40 has too much history. They're out. So many people that are in their 30s and 20s are so damaged by vaccines and their health is bad, so they're out. All the children that are being damaged by vaccines, if they're fully autistic, they're going to be used as super soldiers. They're going to be used as the worst kinds of slaves. Their brains still function, but they're locked inside of their bodies, which is why autistic children, autistic people rage and have tantrums and have anxiety, because they're feeling tortured. They still have language, they still have feelings, they still have thoughts, and they can't express it. They're locked in a prison inside their mind, their bodies. Okay? Now they're going to be transhumaned for permanent, eternal enslavement, tortured permanently with no relief. All the people that are autistic, that are Asperger's or high functioning, unnecessary. Still got too much knowledge. They want our children. They want our grandchildren. They can turn them. They can MK Ultra them. They can transhuman them. They can give them vaccines to make them autistic. They can eat them. They can rape them, and they can get adrenochrome from them. They only want our children. They want us to die, and they want to take our children. They want certain people to be transhumaned in order to feed their cloud. But they want our children. They want the young adults, our children. And if you think this is tomorrow, if you think this is 2030, if you think this is 2054, you need to think again, because this is now. This is now. This is happening now. And we're sitting in front of our devices, and we're feeding the AI cloud, and we're not rising. We're not getting together, and we're not talking about the solutions. I have tried that with getting people on calls. I have tried that in groups. And all people want to do is talk about the problem. And all people want to do is operate out of ego and fight and argue. And we've got the monster rolling in. We got the Trojan horse rolling in on us. And inside of that are the monsters going to pour out to take us to FEMA camps. I just heard from somebody who lives in Arkansas that they are picking up people, citizens of Arkansas now, who have tested positive for COVID-19. But everybody has COVID in them, and the test is false. It's not real, and they're starting to pick people up to take them to the FEMA camps. Just saw an advertisement, I put it on my timeline, of hiring to guard FEMA camps. FEMA camps are concentration camps. They're internment camps. Once you go in, you're not coming out. Once our families go in, they're not coming out. We are looking at burying our families. We're looking at burying ourselves. We're looking at people and beings telling us that we're COVID. We're looking at dying, and they're taking our bodies with our DNA in it when they already have cloning so successful. And then after they've taken our DNA, they're burning us, they're cremating us, or we're disappearing, or they're taking our organs. How would we know? Bodies are just being taken, and we're told they're being cremated, but we don't know. because we're living in tremendous amounts of lies and deception and hubris, while the sheeple are continuing to perpetuate this very action against themselves, let alone all of us. And I don't like the word sheeples, but I don't know how to identify the ones that are not waking up and believe in the pandemic and believe in COVID and don't understand what's really going on. This is our new world. Everything that's been hidden in the shadows for thousands of years is now stepping out to the light. And you say, well, this is a good thing. Well, it is. It's allowing people to wake up very quickly if they're willing to look. But stepping out into the light means they feel that they have nothing to hide anymore. And if it is pedophilia that they want, they'll take it. And if it is adrenochrome they want, they'll take it. And if it is transhuman beings that they want, they'll take it. You don't put vaccines in the hands of the military for the population of all people. That's not a normal action in a peaceful world. It is a strike against humanity. And once people start taking the vaccine, their souls will be removed. I remember a couple of years ago reading an article. It says they found the God gene and they can remove it. They found the God gene and they can remove it. What we have is we have souls that makes us eternal. And there are many worlds to enjoy. This isn't the only world. This is the satanic world, but it isn't the only world. And with our souls, when we die, we can go on to other worlds and experience other beautiful experiences. And our souls just keep going on and on. But once they capture us with these vaccines and chip us, there is no other place but this place for eternity. And I don't know about you, but there is no way that I will ever agree or consent to this. So let me ask you, since March, since November in Wuhan, how do you like this new normal so far? This is Raven White Dove signing out while rising in love. If you like what you hear, please be sure to like this video. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. See in the description how you can support my channel to grow bringing you the best content that I can. Thank you so much for visiting and for your support. This is Raven White Dove signing out while rising in love.